What is your strategy to resolve the crisis in the east of the DRC?
Thank you. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Mike, give him the mic.
Bonjour, c'est Mohamed Ali, journaliste de la télévision algérienne Al-24 News. Le sommet vient d'adopter la déclaration d'Alger sur les crimes coloniaux. Comment évaluez-vous cette initiative et dans le sillage des efforts de l'Algérie après les ATF, comment jugez-vous les initiatives algériennes en faveur de la complémentarité continentale? Merci.
Complémentarité continentale.
Please, madam, give us your name and ask your question.
Good afternoon. My name is Bongani Siziba, News Central TV, Nigeria. And my question is, has the conference maybe discussed on the inclusion of Sahel countries? Because you speak about silencing of the guns. Is there maybe a discussion on including them in the AU?
Thank you very much, Excellency, Chairperson of the Union. I will hand over to you.
Merci beaucoup. Vous avez posé une question qui nous intéresse beaucoup, une question de la stabilisation de l'Est de la RDC. D'abord, nous avons l'espoir parce que déjà, il y a la volonté de dialogue entre les protagonistes. Ce conflit se dessine en deux images. Il y a cette tension entre le Rwanda et la RDC. Mais il y a en interne aussi des groupes armés congolaises. Nous avons ce qui est l'apaisement à partir des relations entre le Rwanda et la RDC. Nous avons déjà un accord de Washington qui instaure le cessez-le-feu. Ce cessez-le-feu est un instrument qui ramène les parties ensemble. Même si aujourd'hui il semble qu'il n'y a pas de confiance réelle entre les deux parties, il y a cet instrument. Ils sont obligés parce que l'accord est signé par chaque partie. Alors il revient aux médiateurs d'aider les parties alors à signer cet accord. Il faut aussi créer des mécanismes de mise en œuvre de l'accord. Le cessez-le-feu est une chose, mais il faut le mettre en œuvre. Le mettre en œuvre, d'abord, c'est le désengagement des forces. Le désengagement des forces, si ce sont des forces étrangères, le désengagement implique que les forces étrangères doivent regagner leur pays. Aussi, le désengagement implique la garantie qu'aucune partie ne reprendra pas les hostilités. Il faut une force aussi, que je dirais, d'interposition pour garantir la sécurité des uns et des autres. Mais aussi, le cessez-le-feu implique que les combattants aillent dans le processus de désarmement, de mobilisation et le processus aussi de garantir la sécurité de tous les citoyens. Parce que si les forces combattantes quittent le terrain, il faut que les citoyens aient la garantie de sécurité. Ça, c'est du côté de l'accord de Washington, mais aussi du côté intercongolais, il y a les négociations qui sont en cours à Doha. Aussi là, il y a eu engagement de cesser les hostilités et d'entamer le dialogue. À ce moment-là, ça concerne les Congolais. Les Congolais pourront alors se mettre ensemble dans un dialogue. J'ai appris que le président Félix Tshisekedi est déterminé à entamer le processus de dialogue intercongolais pour ramener la stabilité dans le pays. Alors notre rôle en tant qu'Union africaine, c'est d'accompagner et de conseiller les partis pour qu'effectivement ils s'engagent sans détour vers le retour à la paix. Voilà pour cette première question.
Merci, President. Excellency Chairperson.
J'aimerais ajouter aux explications à la stratégie que le président vient de déployer que l'Union africaine également a mis en place un mécanisme qui est piloté par le président Faure Gnassingbé, qui est le président du Togo, et avec un secrétariat qui est installé ici à Addis Ababa, ainsi que des facilitateurs de personnalités connus d'anciens présidents ont été donc sollicités, tels que le président Obasanjo, la présidente Sahle Worket, la présidente Samba Panza, etc., d'anciens présidents donc, qui essayent, avec un terme de référence de leur mission qui est très clair, d'aller vers les terrains qu'a évoqué le président Diachimé, à savoir donc tout ce qui se passe à l'intérieur d'abord de la RDC, dialogue intercongolais, etc., et ensuite les relations entre le Rwanda et la RDC. Le président Faure a déjà fait des visites dans toutes les capitales de la région. Il a visité également le président de la République du Burundi. Et je crois que l'Union africaine est aujourd'hui, je dirais, dans la position et la posture de piloter cette médiation et de ne pas laisser seulement, n'est-ce pas, les partenaires extérieurs venir essayer de régler le problème africain. Et l'accord de Washington est bien, il a été bien accueilli par l'Union africaine, ainsi que la déclaration de Doha. Mais maintenant, c'est à l'Union africaine d'aller de l'avant dans le processus donc de médiation et de stabilisation de l'Est de la RDC. Voilà ce que je pourrais ajouter à ce sujet.
Do you want to take the other two questions, Excellency Chairperson?
Yeah, with regard to the second question, the theme of last year, if you remember, was the reparations for Africans and African ascendants due to the slavery and colonization eras. I think it's very important to understand and underscore that the African Union has always considered colonization, slavery, as a crime against humanity. So this year, the conference has again, underscored the fact that we needed to make it in a declaration, and the declaration presented by Algeria has been endorsed. So it's very important to demonstrate that kind of commitment and determination to fight against, all form of colonization on the continent. And I think this is something that is in line with the whole, struggle for independence since the 60s, 50s, 60s, and then it is ongoing. And I think that this issue of colonization and reparations will continue to be, our leitmotif in this union.
Excellency, there was a question on the inclusion of the countries of the Sahel.
Merci. La situation dans la région du Sahel n'est pas une question qu'on peut prendre à la légère. C'est aussi une question complexe. Parce que le terrorisme qui s'est installé dans cette zone font des crimes transfrontaliers. Ça concerne presque toute la région. Alors la première chose, c'est qu'il faut qu'il y ait solidarité entre les États de la région pour combattre ensemble. C'est ce que l'Union africaine est en train de faire pour les aider à ramener la paix dans cette région. Mais aussi, la question devient complexe parce qu'il y a aussi des États où les institutions ne sont pas internationalement reconnues au niveau de l'Union africaine, parce que l'Union africaine est contre le changement inconstitutionnel des régimes. Alors à ce moment-là, nous voyons que les dirigeants de ces États aussi ont besoin d'être approchés pour chercher le retour rapide à l'ordre constitutionnel, mais aussi les aider à stabiliser leurs États. Donc aujourd'hui, nous ne pouvons pas dire qu'il faut associer les terroristes. Les terroristes n'ont pas d'idéologie. L'idéologie, c'est criminel. Donc, il n'y a pas moyen d'associer un criminel pour aller chercher la paix alors que son idéologie, c'est criminel. Plutôt, on doit appeler à tous les citoyens de la région de s'unir, de se mettre ensemble, et même de se convaincre qu'ils ont un ennemi commun. Et cela se fait quand les leaders de la région sont ensemble pour mobiliser ces citoyens. C'est ce que l'Union africaine voudrait. C'est pour cela que l'Union africaine a maintenu la connexion, la communication avec les États du Sahel pour chercher ensemble des solutions.
Chairperson.
Yes, the issue of reintegration of the Sahel countries in the African Union, President Dashimie has already tackled and handled it. The biggest problem that we have in that region is the proliferation of terrorist groups, traffickers, and all kind of secessionist rebellions. And it is in this region has become a source of concern when it comes to the neighboring countries too. So it's very important also to understand that we need to continue to engage with them. When I assumed office, I immediately appointed a special envoy, and my special envoy has been meeting recently with the leaders of those countries, and I also requested a visit to those capitals so that I can also start a direct dialogue with the leaders of that region. I think the Sahel countries need the support of the whole African Union, and I know that there is an initiative now that more than the neighboring countries, 18 countries of that region are seriously thinking of creating a platform, a common platform on how best they can handle these security issues together and not leave it to the 3 Sahel countries. I think this initiative will certainly be of critical importance in the coming weeks and months. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have 2 more questions. I'm just looking at the hands. Okay, there is one gentleman there at the back. I will take the gentleman at the back. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Talking about the African Continental Free Trade Area, I mean, a lot of applause and thumbs up coming in the execution by the SADC region and somehow by Ethiopia, obviously an anchor nation in the Horn and Eastern Africa. To what extent the conflict in the Sahel threatening the ongoing African Continental Free Trade Area, and why the organization failed to set initiatives to halt the ongoing conflict in the Sahel region. And of course, the African Continental Free Trade is one of the leading initiatives by the African Union, showing a good progress and performance. But in the area of peace and security, we've been hearing African Union condemns these are the problems and stuff like that.
All right.
But we haven't seen any initiative in that regard.
Thank you. Thank you. There was a hand at the back. Please go ahead, sir. Interpreters, we cannot hear you. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Emmanuel Pacom Damali. I'm a journalist with a Daily Graphic from Ghana. The President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has decided or has already drawn the attention of the AU that he's going to table a resolution at the UN next month declaring slavery and slave trade as the greatest crime against humanity and seeking for reparation and reparative justice. We want to find out what is the commitment of the AU towards this cause and what strategies are you adopting to push for this agenda for the continent of Africa to gain its reparative justice that it seeks. Thank you very much.
One more question. There is a gentleman who put his hand up very quickly here.
Thank you. This is Samuel from Ethiopian Presidency. How does the AU view Ethiopia's Green Legacy Initiative as a model for enhancing watersheds and ensuring long-term water security across the Horn of Africa? Thank you.
Excellency Chair of the Commission, I will start with you.
The question around the lack of efficiency of the African Union to resolve crises and conflicts, and the lack of initiatives that create a sense of failure. And this could have an impactful effect on the development of trade on the continent, and in particular through our common framework, which is EFCFTA. Let me say that it's not the lack of initiatives that create that sense. Even an hour ago, I was in a C5 meeting, presided over by His Excellency President Ramaphosa on the Republic of South Sudan, and so many leaders, presidents were present. And I think that there are so many mechanisms that we try to use and utilize in order to bring peace and stability in some of our regions where we have conflicts and unstable situations. You are right when you say that one of the non-tariff barrier that we always refer to and mention is the lack of security in the border areas. If you don't have, 100% security in border areas, it's very difficult for goods to cross the border from a country to another. This is a real challenge. And then, of course, the unconstitutional change of governments create also more tension, not only inside the country, but also it might have a spillover effect on neighboring countries. But Silencing the Guns is really a flagship program in this Agenda 2063, and we are putting all our efforts, resources, and all the mechanisms necessary so that we can bring a difference on the ground. Monsieur le Président.
Merci. D'abord, à l'étape où nous sommes, on ne peut pas dire qu'il y a des échecs parce que nous sommes au début de l'opérationnalisation. Donc, si on est au début, il y a toujours des entraves, il y a des défis. Mais comme le président de la Commission vient de le dire, effectivement, pour qu'il y ait des échanges commerciaux, il faut la stabilité. Même à l'intérieur des États, s'il y a l'instabilité, il est difficile de faire des échanges. Alors, entre les États, s'il n'y a pas de stabilité, ça se complique. Mais à l'étape où nous sommes toujours optimistes. Nous sommes optimistes parce que plus le temps avance, plus les États s'approchent, plus on étudie des stratégies pour la stabilité. Merci.
With regard to the second question on the resolution that will be tabled by Ghana next month at the UN Security Council, by His Excellency President John Mahama. I think that if Ghana decided to go to the UN Security Council, it is with the mandate of the African Union and with the support of the 55 countries. And without that support and the support of the A3 plus is the non-permanent members of the African countries in the Security Council. And I think that the whole process of demanding reparations and asking that slavery is and was considered as a crime against humanity, it is a collective effort. And Ghana is relying on the support of the African group in New York to advocate for that and to lobby for that. So rest assured that the Commission is behind Ghana to support the tabling of that resolution at the UN Security Council.
Excellency, do you want to continue and take the one on the green legacy?
On green legacy?
Yes, sir.
The African Union Commission really congratulates Ethiopia for its tremendous efforts it has been deploying in protecting the environment, launching this green legacy, and His Excellency Prime Minister Abiy has been very successful, and we have just to see the city of Addis Ababa that it speaks for itself. And also we have to remind us all that Ethiopia organized the African Climate Summit, which is now the declaration of that summit, the roadmap of that summit will be the reference documents for the African position when it will come to defend our position in climate justice, the financing of our adaptation plan, and also the voicing also the expectations of continent in energy transition, etc., etc. All these issues, you know them. And beyond that, we are preparing also, on the top of that, I mean, we are preparing ourselves to host here in Ethiopia COP32. This will be the first time that the African continent will host this big event where almost 100,000 people will come, and it will be a great platform to voice the requirements, let's say the demands and expectations of this continent. And we also all know that we are the most affected by climate change, and we are not the countries which has contributed to the green gas, how do you call it? Greenhouse effect? Greenhouse effect? Yes, greenhouse effect and emissions. The African continent contributed only up to 4% to the greenhouse effect and emissions, and the polluters have to pay. They have to support our member countries to develop their adaptation plans to fight against climate change. And each and every year, devastating cyclones, droughts, floodings, hit our continent. And most recently, we had very difficult, very strong cyclones in Mozambique, southern part of Madagascar. And a year ago, it was drought, that has stricken countries in the southern part of Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and then floods in Somalia and elsewhere. I think it's very important to understand that this cycle of destructive natural phenomenon will keep repeating itself. And that's why adaptation plans are really a matter of survival for our economies. Just to give you also another example, one cyclone can destroy the economy of a country for good. From an emerging economy, you can just drop to the least developed country in one night. That's why I think it's very important to understand the effect of the climate change. What we are doing also, just to finish on this point, what we are doing as advocacy is to link, to show the nexus between climate change, migration, and debt sustainability. Because it is all circling around the economies of our countries. So we cannot, spare resources for development if we have to deal with the consequences of destructive natural phenomena that are the direct results of climate change.
Thank you, Excellency Chairperson of the Union. Do you have a comment?
Thank you very much for the media, for your presence. You have been very patient for a number of days, and you did, a great job. So the Commission and the Chairperson of the Union, thank you for your patience and your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Thank you for attending this press briefing.
In 1965, Ghana chose her own value. From cowries and pounds, the cedi was born, our pride in our own hands. It flowed through markets, palms and memories and became part of daily life. Through every season of change, the cedi has remained a constant in Ghanaian life. In 2007, we took a bold step, ushering in a new era of confidence and stability. Today, the cedi lives in banks, markets, and apps, rooted in tradition, shaped by history, carried by innovation. 60 years on, it remains our heritage, our identity, our pride. Know the cedi. Keep it clean.
Meet Kwame. He's not just any Kwame. He's Kwame the TV license legend. Kwame knows that by paying his TV license, he's supporting GBC, our public service broadcaster, and he's making a real difference. Kwame's contribution helps bring our communities closer together. Because of Kwame and others like him, we will all have access to amazing TV programs, educational content, plus broadcasting infrastructures are maintained, and our culture is beautiful.
I hand over to you.
Thank you, Madam. I address you today with a deep sense of history and responsibility. In February 2024, the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union adopted Decision 884, declaring 2025 as the Year of Justice for Africans and People of African Descent through reparations. Reparations for the transatlantic slave trade, colonialism, and apartheid were designated as a flagship priority of our union. In line with that decision, I was entrusted with the mandate to serve as African Union champion for reparations. This is not merely a title, it's a solemn obligation to pursue truth, recognition, and justice for our ancestors and for generations yet unborn. At the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in September 2025, I announced that Ghana would lead the effort to table a resolution declaring slavery and the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity. That commitment marked the beginning of a structured diplomatic and legal process. I directed the Minister of Foreign Affairs to establish a high-level committee to coordinate consultations, refine the legal framework, and prepare a draft text consistent with international law and diplomatic practice. Today, I'm pleased to report significant progress. The initiative is firmly grounded in international law. Slavery is prohibited under international law as a peremptory norm, a jus cogens principle from which no derogation is permitted. The resolution builds upon this legal foundation and rests on three pillars. First is historical accuracy, second is legal defensibility, and third is continental and diaspora alignment. We've ensured that the text of this resolution reflects rigorous scholarship, moral clarity, and diplomatic credibility. Ghana has undertaken extensive consultations to strengthen the resolution. We've engaged with the ECOWAS, we've engaged with UNESCO, the Global Group of Experts on Reparations, the Pan-African Lawyers Union, academic institutions, the African Union Committee of Experts on Reparations, and the African Union Legal Experts Reference Group. We hosted the inaugural joint meeting of the African Union Committee of Experts on Reparations and the African Union Legal Experts Reference Group in Accra earlier this month to further refine the text of the resolution. We also began engagement with the diaspora at the Ghana Diaspora Summit held in December last year. This has been inclusive, deliberate, and consultative. Following expert consultations, the title has been refined to read Declaration, and I quote, Declaration of the Trafficking in Enslaved Africans and Racialized Chattel Enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. This language is precise. It recognizes the systematic trafficking of millions of Africans, the racialized and institutionalized nature of chattel enslavement, the unprecedented scale and enduring consequences of these crimes. Precision in language strengthens precision in justice. At the recent African Union Summit, the Executive Council recommended the endorsement of this resolution. I'm pleased to inform you that the Assembly of Heads of State and Government adopted that decision by consensus at this 39th Ordinary Session. This gives Ghana a clear and unified continental mandate. Our next major engagement will be at the 50th regular meeting of CARICOM later this month. The Caribbean and Africa share a deeply intertwined history, and their support will be pivotal to the tabling of this resolution. Beginning 20th February 2026, Ghana will conduct intensive diplomatic engagements in New York with CARICOM, the Non-Aligned Movement, the Group of 77 in China, the European Union, and other regional groupings. Informal consultations on the draft text are expected to take place between 23rd February and 12th March 2026. Our objective is simple: to build a broad consensus behind this resolution. The initiative is not directed at any nation. It is directed towards truth, recognition, and reconciliation. On 24th March, Ghana will host a high-level side event at the United Nations, followed by a wreath-laying ceremony at the African Burial Ground National Museum in New York. And on 25th March 2026, the International Day of Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery and the Transatlantic Slave Trade, Ghana, together with co-sponsors and with the endorsement of the African Union, will formally table the resolution before the General Assembly. Let me emphasize, the General Assembly. I think there was a mistake when the chairman said the Security Council. It's the General Assembly. The date is intentional because it connects memory with action. We call upon all member states to support and co-sponsor this resolution. The adoption of this resolution will not erase history, but it will acknowledge it. The trafficking in enslaved Africans and racialized chattel enslavement were foundational crimes that have shaped the modern world, and their consequences continue to manifest in structural inequality, racial discrimination, and economic disparity. Recognition is not about division, it is about moral courage. Adoption of the resolution will not be the end. Following the adoption, Ghana will continue engagement with the United Nations Secretary General, the African Union Commission, relevant UN bodies, and interested member states. This is about a sustained dialogue on reparatory justice and healing. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this initiative presents us a historic opportunity, an opportunity to affirm the truth of our history, an opportunity to recognize the gravest injustice in human history, an opportunity to lay a stronger foundation for genuine reconciliation and equality. While the past cannot be undone, it can be acknowledged, and acknowledgement is the first step towards justice. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Colleagues, we'll take a few questions that you might have for His Excellency on the issue of reparations for Africans and for people of African descent. Do we have any questions? I see one hand over there. Please just tell us your name, the media organization that you work for, and then ask your question.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. My name is Julius Yaopetechi, and I report for the Ghanaian Times from Ghana. Sir, throughout your presentation, the word reparation keeps coming up. Apart from the recognition that slave trade is a crime against humanity, do we have a quantum we have put on the reparations that we are seeking? Thank you. In terms of compensation, do we have any quantum that we are looking at? Thank you.
All right, thank you. I just want to do one sweep just to check if anyone else has a question. So 1, 2, and then we'll conclude. Please go ahead. The microphone is behind you.
Here.
No, right here, behind you. Alisa. Okay, just give it to him.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the briefing, and I want to really appreciate your efforts to make the reparation case a strong African case, African agenda at the UN. My question is just AFRICOM summit has been held here in Addis, and there are a lot of discussions between the two bodies, the African and the African countries. How do you evaluate the progress made following the meetings held between African and African leaders? Thank you very much.
Do you mean CARICOM? Do you mean CARICOM?
Yeah, CARICOM. Sorry,
All right.
The African and CARICOM countries. Okay.
All right. Let's go to the last question.
Okay, thank you so much. It is a great milestone, especially for the declaration of your proposal. My question is, what practical outcomes should Africa expect if the resolution is adopted at the UN General Assembly, as the Foreign Minister made a remark in recent days? Beyond that, at the recent Accra receipt at this, Mr. President, you said that Africa has reached at the turning point that we cannot afford to ignore. Why you say that, and what might be done, especially to navigate those situations? Thank you so much.
Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. The first step towards healing is truth. The truth about the story of the transatlantic slave trade must be told. And this resolution at the United Nations is the first step. And we expect that with the consultations we've done and the endorsement of the AU, that finally the truth about the transatlantic slave trade being the gravest injustice and crime against humanity would be acknowledged. After that step, other issues will follow. Indeed, the issue of reparations and restorative justice goes beyond, and that is in answer to the first question, just monetary compensation. It's about setting the historical record straight. It's about returning stolen artifacts from Africa. It's about the pillaging that took place in the period of the slave trade. Issues about quantum are still being researched, and I don't think that a lump sum of money is going to be taken and distributed to countries. We'll get to that point and we'll discuss that when the time comes. But for now, our aim is to put the resolution on the floor, let the world acknowledge that this happened, and that there's been, in recent memory or in world history, no more grave injustice against humanity than the slave trade. 12 million people were transported, forcibly taken and transported across the Atlantic. The number of people who died in the mid-sea, the Middle Passage, is estimated at about 2 million people, either people who jumped off ships and they prefer to die than to go and live in slavery, or people who were too ill or were sick and were tossed overboard to be eaten by sharks and all that. And so that historical record must be set straight. And like I said, it's a whole movement, it's a whole story. And once we table this, we will move to the next stage of it. And so it's not about quantum for now, but there are people who have done research on what the value of the human displacement was. There are people who have done that research, but our resolution has nothing to do with quantum for now. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. We have engaged CARICOM effectively, and I believe that I can say with confidence that today Africa and CARICOM are speaking with one voice. Indeed, the 50th CARICOM Summit, as I said in my statement, is about to take place before the end of this month. And this issue of reparations and restorative justice is going to be something on the agenda of that CARICOM meeting. But I can tell you that we've held adequate consultations with the leaders of the CARICOM nations, with the institutions in the CARICOM nations, and we're speaking with one voice on this matter.
Question about the research statement, but it wasn't clear.
Okay, can our colleague, can you come again with your last question?
Research question.
Yes,
question.
Yes.
At Accra Reset Addis Reckoning event, you said that Africa has reached a turning point that we cannot afford to ignore. Why you said that, and what is expected from African nations, including the AU?
Thank you very much. I think you're referring to the issue of the Health Sovereignty Conference we held in Accra, which gave birth to the whole movement of Accra Reset. It is widely acknowledged that the world is at an inflection point. The multilateral system that was agreed post-Second World War that led to the emergence of the United Nations is currently threatened. I wouldn't say it's broken down completely, but nations are acting unilaterally. Nations are acting in their own national interests. Humanitarian assistance is dwindling. Overseas development assistance to not only Africa but to the global south is dwindling because nations believe that they must invest those resources to the benefit of their own people. Africa cannot sit just as a quiet victim with cup in hand, begging these nations to change their minds. Africa has to take its destiny into its own hands, and that was the reason for the Accra Reset. It focused on health sovereignty because health is at the core of everything we do. And so if you remember in COVID-19, Africa was the last to be thought about when a vaccine was found. And Africa was the last to begin to receive vaccines. That shows you our place if we don't take our destiny into our own hands. And so it was first about how we could structure things so that Africa could begin to speak with one voice, prioritize and act collectively in the interests of our people in terms of healthcare. But the Accra Reset goes beyond just healthcare. It goes into other areas, talks about the global economic order, the breaking down of the global economic order, what new system will replace it, and what will Africa's role be in that new system. It talks about value addition to areas in which we have a comparative advantage, our mineral ores, our critical minerals, rare earths, and all that, bringing value addition home so that we can create opportunities for our young people to be able to stay at home and work and not risk their lives crossing the Sahara Desert and the Mediterranean Sea to go look for opportunities in Europe. That is the conversation we're having, and I'm very happy to announce to you that it's beginning to develop a lot of traction. Many other African countries are coming on board, not only African countries, but even the global south. Indonesia, Singapore, and all of them have bought into the idea of the Accra Reset. We want the global south to be positioned at the table when a new global order is being rolled out.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Your Excellency, the President. Our briefing has come to an end. Excellency, do you have a minute to take an extra question?
Gender sensitive, so because it's a woman, I have to allow it.
I'm Angela Harding. I'm a lawyer from Sierra Leone. My question is, do the resolutions anticipate litigation in international courts or regional courts as part of its implementation?
Litigation, international courts. Does it anticipate litigation, international courts?
Well, I think that we want to forge a broad consensus behind the idea of reparations and restitutive justice. But we don't rule out anything. But I don't think that that is the way to go at this stage. For now, I believe that we can forge a broad consensus. Even the countries that were involved in slavery acknowledge that it was a crime against humanity. A lot of them acknowledge the misery it caused to Africa. A lot of them acknowledge, the pain it caused to victims of slavery. We need to, as a world, accept that history and have it recorded on the biggest platform that the world has, which is the UN General Assembly, to accept that this is our description of slavery.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Excellency. Colleagues, I thank you very much for your attendance, your interest, and the questions that you have asked. Thank you again. We look forward to the next press briefing by Commissioner of Political Affairs, Peace and Security.
Trusted voice of Ghana. Matumi nyina brasi, hallelujah. Monthly intercessory prayers for Ghana. National President, ni executive for that Glow International. No. The Niger Tun Safro Bibia. The February edition of the monthly intercessory prayers for Ghana and Pabonchi Muase. Kumedi Yatudi, stop them. Basso Memneda, 21st February 2026, or Blaster Square Crime. And no panel song, 7 a.m. prompt. Theme: Oh Lord, stop those in Ghana whose feet rush into evil and are swift to shed blood. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 16. Oh Erade, Siwania wa 9 tumbrika ekobonimu. Mwayen tamfie mojegwo wa Ghana no kwine. Mwafadie enye fita. Come and encounter God. Onuya, mayen shiem wa Blaster Square. Be aglow for Jesus.
Meet Kwame. He's not just any Kwame. He's Kwame the TV license legend. Kwame knows that by paying his TV license, he's supporting GBC, our public service broadcaster, and he's making a real difference. Kwame's contribution helps bring our communities closer together. Because of Kwame and others like him, we will all have access to amazing TV programs, educational content, plus broadcasting infrastructures are maintained and our culture is beautifully promoted. So GBC is asking all to respond to this civic obligation and pay your TV license fee. For individuals, it's 3 CDs per month or 36 CDs per year. If you have multiple sets, meaning 2 or more in your household, it's 60 CDs per year. For commercial institutions, it's your number of TV sets by 36 CDs per year, and you pay the invoiced amount directly to GBC. So let's all take a moment to appreciate Kwame, the TV license legend. Wherever you are, just dial *447*333# and follow the prompt. It's your civic duty, so pay your TV license today. GBC, the authentic and trusted voice of Ghana.
Oh yeah, Ghana is opening a new chapter in green growth and investment. Tree Cross Developmental Authority, TCDA, presents the first Ghana Tree Cross Investment Summit and the first Tree Cross Industry Awards 2026. The 4-day event runs from the 17th of February to the 20th of February 2026 at the Accra International Conference Center. Morning sessions start at 8 a.m. and afternoon sessions start at 1 p.m. daily. Theme: Sustainable Growth through Tree Crops Investments, Resetting and Building Ghana's Green Economy. The summit brings investors, policymakers, agribusiness leaders, entrepreneurs from cashew, coconut, oil palm, rubber, mango to share from all over the world to connect. Climaxing the summit will be a special gala night at First Tree Cross Award ceremony. For exhibition, sponsorship and registration, contact us on 0303-981-790. Visit our website at tcda.gov.gh or connect with us via our social media platforms at TCDA Ghana. Registration is required to invest in Ghana. Grow tree crops. The future is green. Be part of it. Seacoms beyond cocoa. Our Seacoms, our future. Come one, come all.
Authentic and trusted voice of Ghana.
Hallelujah, salvation and glory, honor and power to the Lord our God. For the Lord our God is mighty, the Lord our God is omnipotent, the Lord our God, He is wonderful. We say hallelujah, hallelujah, We bless you, Jesus. We lift your name. We lift your name, Jesus. We lift your name, Jesus. Come on, we lift up Jesus. He's the name above every other name. He's the one who came out of heaven and didn't see it fit robbery to come and meet us. Oh, Jesus. Oh, praises be. On Christ alone, our chief cornerstone, no other foundation can we build upon, not for life.